Yeah, so this is the same picture as I finished the last walkthrough showing you, and this is the spot where I took that picture, and so you can see the kind of a major change going on here over the last few decades. Can hardly see the mountain even from here, so pretty well filled in. Pretty nicely filled in. So the permaculture design system is developed around zones. Zero space being home, and then working out the first zone 1 area would be typically and commonsensically the area which you visit the most in your gathering of food. And so that would include things like maybe a citrus tree or two and a whole bunch of greens and vegetables and root crops. And I hope you can see all this okay. Just getting the hang of this filming thing. We have deer netting up here because turkeys, but which browse in here, and they don't have to browse for long to do a lot of damage. We've got an area over here too. You can already see one of these stakes that's holding this up. It's been pushed over, probably by something trying to get in there and eat our food. I mean our food, including them. Just trying to keep it at a reasonable pace. So this little area was just designed around the landscape itself. We went up this hillside, used the extensive rocks that we have here to build up these areas around the contour. And then mostly when we started the project, we used macadamia nut hulls to build up inside of these beds and to compost down into a very usable mulch. And then additions of things like chicken dirt, the dirt that we collect underneath the roosts, because the chickens are prolific poopers, and they usually do so right in the early morning. Got some sweet potatoes planted in here. Need to be weeded out a bit. There's cardamom ginger. So after a few years of developing this place and getting into it more and more, trying to educate myself along with some others that were in the same kind of mindset, I went over to the Big Island with an old friend, dearly passed away, to do an advanced design course. I think it was in '91. And that was with a fellow named Max Lindiger and a woman named Leah Johnson, I'm thinking, who were both here on the Big Island at Wood Valley. That was a Zen center there, a retreat center that the workshop was held at. That one was 2 weeks. And it was dubbed advanced, mostly because we were dealing with large-scale processes and projects. So where the basic design course is very good for the homesteading and small farm and things like that, the advanced design course focused much more on taking vast kind of tracts of land, and especially designing in water systems that would maintain that landscape for a long time. So going down the hill here, this area in front of the house, there's the house. This area here is still pretty much fallow. It is slopey and rocky, and not that difficult to work on, but not a high priority either. We did at one time design this area for very drought tolerant kinds of things like pomegranate and fig and those kinds of things. So we may get to it. We may get to it. This is part of the old photovoltaic system that's going to be repurposed. Had a big storm in 21 that knocked down a bunch of trees. Most of them we bucked up and chipped up. But this one we left hanging here because we had a couple of lilikoi lines that were coming up, and we decided to just transplant them under the tree here and let them run up the tree. And it was not quite a year ago. We got a bunch of fruit coming there, and you keep lilikois nicely watered and they'll flower for you a lot. So I got to meet a lot of really wonderful people at that advanced design course, some of whom I'm still in touch with. This was the beginning of another banana circle years ago that got tore up, but thriving. There's 3 stalks right in this little cluster here that are coming. We have had to switch our banana deal all around over the last 4 or 5 years because we got a case of bunchy top, which is a viral infestation that kills your bananas, kills them dead, and really has to be gotten rid of, otherwise it hangs around. So we got rid of all our bananas and waited about a year before replanting, and I took a chance and replanted a bunch of different species thinking that maybe we've gotten rid of it, because we're pretty rural out here. It's hard for that stuff to vector into a property. In fact, this was probably bought in by a horticulturist. Ironic. So we tried that again, and it takes a while for bananas, about a year for them to get going and producing fruit, and they produced beautifully for about a year, and then the bunchy top returned, and we all cried hot, salty tears and pulled out the banana trees. And I had known that a variety called Santa Catarina, which is an apple banana variety, was the one to do because they resist. It's very resistant to the bunchy top. So we proceeded to go find a bunch of starts of those and replant. And so now that's the only variety we have. Here's some of the girls in the lower chicken area. You got a barred rock and some leghorns, white and brown layers. And yeah, here we are in the lower orchard. This is kind of the bottom of the property. And one of my favorite mango varieties, we have a little pan up here on this tree, is called Kit, K-E-I-T-T. We only have 2 of these, but they're doing great this year, producing a lot of fruit. We got a Raposa mango here. We have had to, you can see these little, what are they called, material. Anyway, these little mesh bags that we've been using to bag the fruit. And that's for several reasons, among which are birds and bugs and rats and young Japanese girls. That's Emmy doing the rounds. So the course with Max was a really good one. We used techniques like stereoscopic viewing of maps to determine where dams can go for water catch and the kinds of dams we'd want to put in, and you know, things like that. So the whole zone thing, as we walk through zone 1, is designed to make everything sort of commonsensical in by way of placing things closest to the humans that are going to be necessary to do on a day-to-day basis or on a fairly regular basis. This little mess back here is this house getting renovated, in case you're wondering how much of a snob I really am. So this house also has a kind of zone structure to it. There's a big garden in front here that has been no-till garden for over 20 years, and would be much more than is necessary for a zone 1 for this space. But these beds here, as you can see, no weeds growing hardly at all, have been down here. We're getting watering on some of the stuff that's still happening. So they're kind of ready to plant out and water, and that'd be it. We had a volunteer lilikoi come and grow up over the Djibouti kava tree, and I thought, wouldn't it be great if it just headed on up into this big Ania tree, and sure enough, it has done that. Thank you very much. And down in here, where we still get some water on the plants that were going for a while, what we've got is a big weeding job. And not much else. Like we have still a lot of nice sorrel over here. That's a wonderful perennial green, kind of a lemony flavor. It works really well in soups. Well, this is kind of embarrassing, showing you guys all this stuff. There's some collard greens that have probably been going for 2 or 3 years now, just in this little container, getting no attention whatsoever except some sprinkling. And they're wonderful. It's a really good food. And we have a little star fruit tree here. Nice little walkway underneath it. It was flowering a little while ago. I don't see a whole lot of little fruit though. That's disappointing. I'll kind of live with that. And that's the gate down to the lower easement road and marks the lower boundary of the property.